Hi, I'm Two-Siders. Welcome to the 8th episode of Themed Park, the series where we create animal parks with a twist. We'll take a little break from our Viva Piñata paradise to create the most successful Jurassic Park franchise the world has ever seen. Today's goal is to achieve a 5-star rating on Isla Sorna, Side B. It won't be an easy challenge, however, because we are starting with a measly $3 million and all 10 dinosaurs were picked by my real-life colleague, Esther. Can you guess what dinosaurs she picked just from Esther's descriptions?
Looks like a mix between a gazelle and a kangaroo.
I worked over 150 hours on this project, and I wish this to be the best Jurassic World Evolution video the website has ever seen. If you'd like to support us, abracadabra, press the like button, press the subscribe button, check out the Themed Park video playlist, and finally, comment below your dinosaur predictions from my colleagues' descriptions. Also, if you have the money, buy a ticket to the park. We have an excellent security rating, at least in the press. Most of the excellent music of this episode is brought to you by Crispin Hands. He is known for composing the best video game soundtrack of all time for the game Impossible Creatures. He is also known for far lesser known titles such as Minecraft Legends. Why did you pick this location?
It's much more difficult picking a map than the dinosaurs. Perhaps Isla Sorna? It just looks cool in a natural way. Isla Sorna doesn't look as artificial as, for instance, Biosyn Sanctuary. The buildings aren't trying to be in the spotlight, but they don't exactly try to hide in the jungle either.
The jungle surrounds us completely. It's going to be far easier to fence in the humans instead of the dinosaurs. Before purchasing this place, I've been told by the natives from the surrounding islands that there are far worse things lurking about in the jungle than simply dinosaurs. We scouted the nearby area, but we only found a broken down airstrip with the remains of a Super King Air 200, a giant bird cage, and a peculiar looking abandoned compound. So much for ghosts. Sometimes dinosaurs from the never-ending shore and the heart of the island come to visit us at the perimeter of our cage, so creating them is not always necessary. It's only the first day, but some bird-like dinosaurs have already been spotted. What could the first dinosaur be?
It has such a stupid expression on its face. He knows it doesn't matter how fast it runs. It saw the email about the ice cream in the office kitchen too late.
We are rapidly running out of money, so we need to figure out something soon. The first dinosaur is my favorite dinosaur to hate, the Struthiomimus. Their name means ostrich mimic. In fact, in my very own tongue, struth is not far from the word strutz, which means ostrich. This species is a GMO, a genetically modified organism, meaning the gaps in its DNA have been filled with that of modern species. Most wild dinosaurs on the island are female. For instance, it's very apparent that these are all ladies. Males would possess a more colorful appearance, just like modern birds. I have some bad news. In terms of money, we have no money. Guests will not come to the park until they can see at least one dinosaur from a gallery. Genetically modified males could herd the ladies in front of the viewing gallery on the other side, but we don't even have enough money for guest buildings, let alone dinosaurs. I was preparing to flee before the inevitable bankruptcy, but then it occurred to me. When I was in Africa collecting ostrich DNA, one of the farmers told me that
ostriches are fascinating creatures. They are intelligent enough to herd sheep.
Struthies contain ostrich DNA. That means they can follow human commands. This is our only chance. Send out a team with someone who can finger whistle. Fire the others.
Yes, boss.
They are following our commands. Maybe we can save this park yet. Just as I had my hopes up, the herd cannot reach the viewing gallery because they are stuck on the outskirts of the vegetation. The jungle is so thick, no dinosaur or human can get through it. Financial bankruptcy. We are in serious debt already, so we cannot even cut down this new green enemy. The fences. There is a narrow passage around the fences. If we cannot push the dinosaurs through the jungle, we can pull them through it. All of a sudden, from the bottom left corner of the first viewing gallery, an alien creature appeared. The park is saved. The park got a little more famous, so we can finally build the first guest section, Amber Avenue. Compared to the females, male Struthiomimuses are darker and possess yellow-like stripes to attract the females. Most of our animals will be able to come and go as they please between the prying eyes of the viewing galleries, the sunless sea of the jungle. Just as the park was saved from the bankruptcy and all of our money was invested into amenities, I heard the worst sound imaginable. The storm is upon us. We were hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt, so I had to sell multiple important buildings. Even though I had to take drastic measures, we survived the storm. We have to work hard to rebuild the park, release more dinosaurs and increase the profits. I have a vision for this place and nothing can stop me. Not money, not nature itself. One day, this will be the greatest park in the history of the world. With the second dinosaur, things get complicated. I brought in a no-name team of scientists for all our needs. Look at your screen right now! This is not second monitor content! Seriously, who are these people? I tasked the scientists to delve deeper into the jungle and investigate the the abandoned compound we've seen earlier. The compound turned out to be an old InGen research laboratory. We couldn't break into the center lab, but an outside wing still had some operational freezers, and we found some usable DNA, though not of what you think. Even though the image on the vial is clearly of an ibex, we found sand gazelle DNA, which lowers the thirst of animals. Dog DNA makes them more tolerant of poor environmental conditions, and wolf DNA will reduce the amount of territory needed with growing populations. The new scientists don't exactly share my viewpoints. They say mixing multiple DNA will make the creatures volatile. Scientists, dinosaur activists, at every point and turn, people are standing between me and my vision. The second dinosaur didn't exactly live in the Arizona desert, but I still had the great idea to create an exhibit that will surely bring in guests by the thousands. I had to convince the horticulturists, that's garden engineers for you, as well as the architecture team and the wildlife assistants, that this would not cause an ecological disaster on the island. The exhibit boasts no fences. The rocks keep the animals trapped like the inside of some scorching volcano. The only thing offering some respite is an oasis in the middle. I didn't want no damn oasis, but the welfare specialists were very vocal about the second dinosaur's environmental needs. Ladies and gentlemen, let me present to you the dust ball. What creature will live here? Here's a hint. The dinosaur is from Utah, though I imagined it to be more from Texas, especially from Esther's description.
Sitting on a saddle behind its massive crest, you could roast 2 corn on the cobs on its long cattle-like horns.
I'm not sure who is more stupid, the garden engineers or the Struthies. They forgot to leak all the water around the island, so now we just have a bunch of naked ostriches running around and starving. A few jumped into the dust bowl and had to be moved out. 2 of them even got into our human cage, probably because Dave and Pablo forgot to lock the gate.
Sorry, boss.
You are lucky you can whistle. We are ready to send in the second dinosaur, genetically modified and all. I am pleased to announce the cattle of the Cretaceous prairie, the Nasutoceratops. We are going to release some brown females and then some more colorful males. Unfortunately, these ladies didn't get the memo about their sandfield new home. They are running around in packs. Whose idea was it to give them wolf DNA? Send in the sharpshooter, the boy we just hired.
Understood.
After some convincing shock treatments, the pioneers were quick to settle into the Dust Bowl even without cattle ranchers. Maybe one day we can have a train running through here like in the Wild West. The dinosaur activists are increasing their pressure on the park, even though I silence all sources regarding the incident. They will only let up if we house a friendly creature with the Nasutoceratops. Some dinosaurs released in the bottom section will be extra ones, not on Esther's list, you see. I wanted to add another ceratopsid to the exhibit. I don't want to sacrifice the Dust Bowl's iconic looks with more plants. Only one ceratopsid shares the Nasuto's love for ground leaf, as all other ones eat fiber instead. Some of the scientists didn't think it was a good idea to send this creature in, but who are they to know? A colorful shield appeared in the gate. Everything seemed fair and dandy until I realized Casbosaurus and the Nasutoceratopses absolutely hate each other. To tell you the truth, I was almost happy we were about to have a showdown for the thrill seekers, but they are fine together in the exhibit. Nasutos are twice as powerful anyways, and both just sort of keep to one side of the exhibit, constantly rotating around like the hands on a twisted modern hourglass. Let's try something smaller this time. They are too intelligent for the herding signals, but not intelligent enough to know what's good for them. Send in the newly promoted sharpshooter.
Yes, boss.
He could hit a Compsognathus in a bush. We even finally got the train we were looking for. The dust is settled in the arena once more. I don't want to worry about money anymore. To increase our revenue, we need some guest accommodations so the moneybags can stay in the park for even a fortnight if they want. What better place to build it than the middle of the swamp?
To get to your accommodation, walk through the rock bridge cutting through Hardhead Haven until you reach the lake. If you hear stone cutting sounds, you are getting close. You will be able to see our up-and-coming third dinosaurs right up close from your room. Complimentary earplugs at the front desk.
Apparently the name Swamp Hotel is not all that appealing to the test audiences.
This dinosaur is the most punk ever. Not only does it have a mohawk-like crest, but it also even has piercings.
It's very interesting seeing someone's personality just from the dinosaurs they picked. Let's release the third dinosaur. Dracorex Hogwartsia is named after the Harry Potter franchise. Contrary to popular belief, it is not a separate species of dinosaur, but a young version of another we'll soon see in the park. Just like its older form, they consume ground leaf, but they also require some nuts in their diet. I underestimated how much ground leaf 8 tiny dinosaurs need. They even got raccoon poisoning because of the missing leaves. Now that the horticulturists filled the entire exhibit to the brim with ground leaf, the Sour Patchy Kids are fine. However, I'm not sure how we'll be able to fit more dinosaurs in. At first, I wanted to play around with a genetically modified alpha, but the Alpha Draco is already sharing all the accommodating and social traits with the group. We need another solution. Let's get rid of some Dracorexes. Send in Dimitri, tranquilize all of them, sell the worst ones, wake up the best 3.
Я сделаю все возможное.
It's time to release the big brother. Dracorexes are a younger version of the stygimoloch. They have a more pronounced head dome with less pronounced spikes, but neither Dracorex nor the stygimoloch are a separate species. Release the big daddies. Some bird skulls, and therefore dinosaur skulls, morph quite a lot throughout their lifetime. The domes get sturdier, the spikes fall off from combat. My pet theory is Dracorex needs spikes so carnivores can't grab it from the back of the neck, or perhaps so adult patches could tell the mature ones apart. All the social DNA traits I've mentioned increase the dinosaur's dominance. With a high enough dominance, fights for the alpha position can be settled even without a fight. But other times, believe it or not, 3 Dracos, 3 Styggies and 3 Patches need way less ground leaf than 8 Dracorexes. The reason why is because dinosaurs under the minimum population limit only count as 1 dinosaur in terms of environmental needs, and all 3 of these species have a minimum population limit of 3. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Now that the swamp hotel, Hardhead Haven is done, we don't have to worry about the financials ever again. The only thing we can run out of is space. It's time to tame the middle section. Before we create the 4th dinosaur on the list, let's lay out where everything goes in the middle section. The new scientists were adamant about being in this area next to the volcano. They seemed quite angry, but once I let them do it, they seemed a bit happier. We have created quite the mining operation, if I can say so myself. The entire place is like a cave. There are no dinosaur remains to be found on these Costa Rican islands, at least below the surface, but we did find 3 peculiar looking stones. The translator will ask the natives what these 3 weird stones might have been. The birdcage in the middle of the island was almost completely empty. We put the entire thing over this new mine. I'm sure the stones won't mind. The lagoon will be in the middle, the beach resort connected to it from the south. I'm not sure what to do with this giant volcano though. The 4th dinosaur will only be visible through our up and coming park doors. And of course, the train. These dinosaurs are somewhat big, but they move in herds. It seems like Esther quite likes dinosaurs with head crests. What could the 4th dinosaur be?
Also quite punk. Looks like a tattooed old lady.
Tell you the truth, I much prefer the older genomes of the Corythos. Look, they were much slimmer and more elegant. They sounded more like exotic birds in their cacophony. With our genome, Corythosaurus looks more like, how should I put this, like a tattooed old lady. Not very distinct from other hadrosaurs. Also, quite the nightmare fuel with their red eyes. Still, Corythos will make an excellent mid-game dinosaur on the island. You can think of them as zebras or antelopes on a safari tour. Not very interesting or that distinct, but big and colorful enough to see from the safety of your seat or through the train window. Speaking of hadrosaurs, the next dinosaur should be easy to guess.
Looks like a mix between a gazelle and a kangaroo decorated with racing car stripes.
I never thought of them this way, but quite an accurate description from Esther. We created a luxurious resort at the beach area next to the lagoon. It is accessible by zipline or the park tour for the elderly. The 5th dinosaurs are going to live right next to the hotel for the guests willing to spend more. Release them! The males look more massive and colorful in the daytime, but with this species, it's the females that attract the males. How is that possible when they look so green and uninteresting? You'll soon realize when the sun is going down. Herd them over to the beach hotel. Be careful, Dave. This is gonna be your longest trip yet. It's mating season, and you'll be able to see female paras in their splendor throughout the night. The crest on the females looks quite peculiar. It's not a big deal though. You can even feed them any sort of nut, except Brazil nut. Brazil nuts contain selenium, and in large quantities they can cause kidney failure. Not that anyone's running around with a 2-ton bag of Brazil nuts. The original plan was to let the Struthies, Paras and Corythos roam around the entire island completely unrestricted. You see, the idea is Struthies eat ground leaf, Corythos eat ground fiber, and Paras eat ground nut. If you place these vegetations in separate patches around the park, the species will naturally gravitate to their own areas. The plan has worked in 2 simulation parks. In our park, however, the stupid little bird-brained idiots just travel way too far and start starving. Oh yes,
Buy our Struthio burgers from the Beach Burger joint now for just $12.99.
the hatred of the scientists towards me is ever increasing. The last time I made them venture into the secret compound, they found raptor DNA. Very fresh raptor DNA. One of them was killed in action. But why are they blaming me? Why didn't they just steal raptor eggs and blow into like a weird 3D model of a raptor's resonating chamber? Are they stupid? The dinosaur activists are back, and they are hungry for a bigger chunk of meat this time. The translator is also back, and not with good news. Turns out the 3 stones in the Cave Bat Canyon are sacred. Legends say that when the stones are uncovered and the Tree of Life is visible, that's that one massive tree over there, by the way, a green snake-like creature with bone-white markings will destroy whatever and whoever uncovered the stones. I guess we'll need a bigger ranger station. Unfortunately, due to the activists pressuring parks around the globe, we can no longer use live ammunitions in the park. Not that we did, tranks are fine. Well, anyways, the next dinosaur, flying reptile, is from Mongolia. Tar black fur covers its entire body. On its skeleton, 2 massive scythes are sticking out. On its appendages, yellow eyes are watching your every move. It's hungry for your blood.
Looks extremely cute, and I cannot not read its name as Jeholopterus.
Apologies for the subterfuge. It helps sell tickets. I got you, didn't I? We have over 20 of these little bastards. They fly around in a swarm and love eating insects. Delicious, juicy insect blood. The moth-like markings on their wings are to ward off predators. It's quite hard to shoot them with the drone. Don't worry, it's only tranquilizers, like I said. I'm sure it had a soft landing on the edge of that boulder. Through 2 aviary galleries and even the up-and-coming island jeep tour, you can view the Jeholopteruses. I guess that makes us Jehovah's Witnesses. Excuse me, sir, do you have a moment to talk about our Lord and Savior, the volcano deity? Which one? Well, there's quite a few around. Perhaps Aganju from Cuba, or Guayota from the Canary Islands, or maybe you like Pele from Hawaii? Last but not least, I can offer you Chantico from none other than the Aztecs. I wonder which one of them haunts our volcano. So anyways, this is what Esther said about the next species.
If they cut off one of its wings, it can still flutter about with its giant crest.
This isn't really a key giveaway. Why? Because every flying species besides the one we already have has a giant crest. By the way, the giant green-white snake-like being slithered out from the jungle and visited us last night. Don't worry, it's pretty harmless. A 20-ton chunk of fun. Just in time because the activists wanted us to shelter a friendly creature with the paras. We asked the natives, but they said the Camarasaurus is a good omen, a sign of fertility if you will, sent by the tree of life. The Camarasaurus was my favorite dinosaur as a kid. I've had a really cool looking toy of it that made me fall in love with the species. Until a couple of years later when I turned over the toy and read the name Diplodocus. The horticulturists made themselves useful again and created a sort of subtropical biome inside the greenhouse, powered by the heat of Chantico. Yes, I picked that one. What's more impressive is the gyrosphere tour our engineers designed. You go into the greenhouse, then outside the greenhouse, then into it again and out again, 5 times apparently. On the map it looks like some sort of a giant alien starfish. Someone called a tall blonde with a spear. This next species lived on sheer cliff sides in ancient Brazil. Heh, there's only one thing worse than Brazil. Ancient Brazil. I wonder if they had ancient Brazil nuts that poisoned ancient Parasaurolophuses. This next species name translated is the Old Being. They only ever found one fossil. Luckily, we have approximately a small sum of $80 million, so it was easy to make them donate the specimen to our park for a small sum of a donation of our own. Release them. The scientists, probably intentionally, made 3 massive mistakes. On one hand, they made possibly the lamest interpretation of Tapejara I have ever seen. Seriously, its head looks like you could split wood with it to make one of those DIY YouTube campfires. On the other hand, instead of releasing around 8 females, they released around 18 females. And let me tell you, they are quite pissed about the open space. We sold a couple of females. Again, I'm sure they had a soft landing, considering they have 3 wings and all. And we made space for the even more colorful males. Not sure why the females also have colorful crests. Oh yes, it's the 3rd mistake by the scientists. Another friendly creature joins the fray. And with it, we have reached 5 star, but our work is not done yet. To make room for the 8th species, we must create a base at the top section of the island. We got one of those fancy ranger stations from Biosyn, but it was a ripoff. They forgot the 2nd Jeep. Traveling up to the top section is possible the same ways as before, with the expanded jungle Jeep tour and the train. The train is very special, you see. It stops at all 3 sections, and it is completely straight, until this bend between the middle and the top sections of the park. What should we call this bend? We are going to create our 3rd regular hatchery and a tunnel through which we can release both the 8th and the 9th species. Seriously, it's quite amazing that so far we were able to keep up the dinosaur numbers in the bottom and the mid sections of the park with only 2 automatized hatcheries. You have no idea how many dinosaurs die here every month. 65 million years from now, when someone creates the next Jurassic Park, they'll be able to work with quite the collection here on Isla Sorna. You are welcome. And let me tell you, they won't even have to buy a Tapejara specimen from rich white guys either. The area we designed for the 8th dinosaur reminds me of a nursery or a playground. You'll be able to pet them right through the fences, or go underground to the dome.
Cuteness overload. It doesn't eat meat, so I'd love to chill with it in the middle of the meadow.
Spend your evening in the luxurious top section restaurants, or simply buy hot dogs and ice cream outside. Release the little bastards. The expanded Jeep tour is done. We even wrangled a couple Struthies to live in the bend.
Yes, boss.
The guests started calling the band in the train's path Dryosaurus band. Never mind that Struthies live here. It's kind of ironic how the park's most harmless species is going to be right next door to the park's most dangerous one.
With no obvious defensive mechanisms, the Dryosaurus would have relied upon its agility and speed to flee from fearsome Jurassic predators, such as Ceratosaurus and Allosaurus.
Esther's description does not do this next creature, the 9th dinosaur, justice.
This dinosaur looks like a hippogriff.
I mean it does, but I'm trying to paint it as a scary beast for park promotion, so forgive me. Oh yes, and it also has a crest. Who would have thought? The Apatosaurus we released died. It made me realize the good omened Camarasaurus might also be dead soon. She is already 10 months over the estimated lifespan. What will happen to the park when she dies? The 9th dinosaur exhibit might look weird to the naked eye. Let me explain its two main inspirations. This next specimen, the 9th dinosaur, is from Mongolia. When we dug up the Jeholopterus fossils, we also took some of this species, whatever we could find in the ground, and also the black market. There are quite a few fossils coming out of Mongolia every year. Poor people trying to make a quick buck, you see. The water cannons they use, although very effective, unfortunately damage the fossils as well. Millions of years of preservation gone in an instant. The other inspiration is a song from the Mongol heavy metal band The Who. It's a remake of Metallica's Sad But True, a cautionary tale of greed, mining out all the gold from underground but destroying nature in the process. So the exhibit has a water-damaged swamp part with dinosaur skeletons. At night, they shine like gold. Maybe it wasn't necessary to fill up the exhibit with water because we have a huge storm coming our way. A jeep caravan is preparing to leave for the park's entrance. Scared guests fleeing to the gates, I guess. I'm not worried about the money anymore. I'm just worried about the mature dinosaurs inside this hatchery. The hatchery's power supply is broken. The doors are opening at the worst time. The Thunderbirds are out. I repeat, the Thunderbirds are out. It's almost like they can't control the weather. The colorful blue one is, once again, the male. Just don't make any sudden movements in the car. There is a log viewing gallery separating the fracking mines from the ground leaf forest in the back. The Gigantos have to pass under the gallery to get to it. They do this weird mating ritual. They are surprisingly lazy and docile, besides the occasional damage. They much prefer eating leaves off the ground than to hunt. The only way we could force them to hunt to sell more tickets was by cutting out their entire forest. I wonder if Esther knows who David Attenborough is. There is only one creature remaining. Ever since we've broken into the midsection and created the lagoon, we've been scouting around the island for the 10th species. We found many different species, dozens of ichthyosaurus pods, groups of nothosaurus on the shore, but not quite what we were looking for. There are 4 ways to watch animals inside the lagoon. There's the zipline, of course, the 2 underwater viewing galleries, and the underwater viewing dome. The entrance to the dome is in a special place. You either have to follow the path next to the Struthiomimus burger joints, or take the next park tour stop. We found a pod. They are off the coast in the north section of the island. Their white bodies shimmer when they come up for air. Transfer them to the lagoon hatchery. I didn't want to share what Esther said about this species because it's really quite nondescript.
Looks like a happy torpedo.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am happy to announce the final creature's arrival to the park. Instead of telling you its name, let me give you a hint. Make sure not to fall off the zip line above the lagoon.
Inside the deep dark lagoon, they almost look like ghosts floating around. It's incredible how fast they can swim when they are hunting prey. So here we have it. There aren't enough stars to describe our park's fame. With over $80 million in the bank and over 4,000 active guests in the park, we can safely move on to the next location. Thank you so much for what is that? These scientists have f***ed us. Viewer, the signs were there. How could I be so blind? They are going to drop it in the busiest area of the midsection. Quickly! We need to evacuate the entire park. Send Dave and Pablo to scout the area and tell them to turn off the fucking radio.
Okay, so that's where they dropped it. The scientists must have paid off the pilot. Keep going, it went around the bird cage.
Is the most environmentally friendly way to see our dinosaurs.
Hey, turn off the lights. I told you to turn the radio off.
Send the new pilot guy from the middle section. He hasn't flown a helicopter yet, but he's the closest one.
Watch out for the palm tree. Trank the beast. Its crocodile-like skin is too thick. You gotta hit it in the head. Watch out for the palm tree.
That's it. I'm done f***ing around. Send the sharpshooter from the bottom section.
Я сделаю это, бот. Head and neck shots only. You gotta be low and close, otherwise the dart won't penetrate. It's charging at you, go up. Why didn't it jump? Must be tired from the tranks. One last shot and she's out.
47 dead. 4 rangers, 19 staff. Sacrificed at the altar of my vision. The scientists fled with the pilot they paid off. I have a feeling we'll see them again. No word got out of the incident. We paid off who we had to. To be honest, it barely made a dent in our financials. When you have money, you own the world. I wonder where we'll go next.